At a creature effects workshop in Hollywood, California, something has escaped. This animatronic abomination is a danger to anyone in its path. The only way to stop it wreaking havoc in the city, to distract it with movie news, discussion, and reviews. Moviesaurus Rex!
Welcome to the Moviesaurus Rex Podcast with your host, Hooch.
And Tom.
And Tom is back, but we've already just talked about that, so It's okay. But yeah, today we're going to just talk about one film. It's the film that everyone's talking about. Marvel's Captain America Civil War. So we've just seen it.
We have.
I've seen it twice now. You've seen it once. Today was your first viewing.
It was indeed.
I think we should say up front, we're just going to spoil this film.
Yeah.
It's going to be full of spoilers. We're not going to worry about what we say. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't listen to this episode. Wait until you've seen it, and then you can join in on the conversation. Unless you want the film completely spoiled for you and everything that happens in it. That's all I'm going to say now. Okay? So you've had fair warning. Don't come to me. Oh, Hooch. Oh, I know you said spoilers, but I didn't think you'd spoil that bit. You should know better. Yeah?
Did you get that then?
No, but
squeaky voice people coming up to you. Oh.
No, but I know other podcasts that get abuse for saying spoilery shit. So fair warning, okay?
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear it, stop listening right now. Okay, let's get into it. Captain America: Civil War.
He doesn't die.
Okay, so we're gonna start with my main criticism of the film.
What? That someone didn't die?
That no one died.
Yeah, because I thought Rhodey was going to get it at least.
Yeah,
from the trailer.
And even that was a cop-out because
he's just
he's paralysed, but then he's not paralysed because he's walking again by the end of it. And you know Tony Stark's just going to build him a suit that lets him do everything with his mind anyway.
A new back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a cop-out. Plus I thought, because I knew from the comic...
I really, before you go on, I really thought this was going to be the film that...
Sort of gets a bit heavy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it should do.
It changes things up.
Don't get me wrong, I love this film. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
But my main criticism is that it didn't go hard enough.
No. See, because Captain America, the second one, the Winter Soldier, did shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it said, oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. is not S.H.I.E.L.D., it's Hydra.
Yep.
And then that kind of had a follow-on effect for the TV show, which I'm not interested in, I don't watch.
I mean, the main ripple from this film will be, I suppose...
Captain America and Iron Man don't like each other.
Yeah, they've got a bit of animosity, and it's still...
At the end, though.
It's still unclear to me, even on the second viewing, the people that didn't sign the forms, they were locked up.
Yeah.
The Sokovia Accords, they were locked up, but they were obviously, assumedly, rescued by Captain America and broken out. But what happens from here? Like, the ones that didn't sign up, is there going to be like more ramifications for that, or are they just going to sort of like cop out beginning of Infinity War? It's like, oh yeah, we all signed in the end and everything's great. Like,
well, that's the thing, because Captain America wrote that little note as well, and Iron Man was like, all right then. Knew that he was going to go then break him out and probably not do much about it.
I guess they're still friends.
I think they are.
And they do sort of tie things up in that respect. Like, you know that they're not going to be fighting again at the beginning of the next film. They're going to be like,
see, I thought
we're over it.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought Civil War would blow this wide open.
That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for like a shake-up. But I suppose the main shake-up of this is the characters that are introduced. That's like the biggest sort of legacy that this film will have.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, spoilers, but this is the film that introduces the new version of Spider-Man. Which arguably Marvel's Spider-Man now, because from what I understand, Marvel has complete creative control over this version. Hopefully. If Sony has any sense, which I very much doubt, but if they have any sense, they will let Marvel do whatever needs to be done to make this right.
My favourite part of the whole film, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I loved him.
So I'm a big Spider-Man fan. He's my favourite hero. He's not my favourite hero, he's my favourite fucking fictional character. Like Peter Parker Spider-Man, my favourite. And I'll admit, when they said they were going to reboot and put him in the Avengers, I was like, I don't want that. Like, I like Spider-Man when he's on his own, because I feel like that makes him more special, you know? And I just sort of like him to exist in his own bubble with his villains and all the rest of it. But now that I've seen it, and seen how fun it is to see him interacting with all these other characters that he's been sort of kept away from all this time, now I just sort of see a whole new load of possibilities, and we're still going to get our standalone Spider-Man films, but every now and then Spider-Man's going to show up with Iron Man and Captain America, and it's going to be all fucking great.
So that was the great thing about this. They didn't need to worry about, right, we'll do a Spider-Man film first, and then introduce him and maybe do a backstory and all that shit, because everyone's seen that. This one was just, accept it, this is a new Spider-Man. Yeah. He's in,
I love
he's
the
mates
way...
with Tony Stark, and he's just there, and you're just like, yeah, I love this.
I love the way they got to him as well.
Yeah.
Like, Tony Stark was like sort of like, I know a guy. And
cut
to Queens. And it's not like nice neighbourhood Queens where it's like the 3-bedroom house or whatever that they live in. It's like a tower block of apartments or flats. Like, that's where he's living, you know, which makes sense because obviously there's only one income and all the rest of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the idea of him having to sort of, when he's about to go on duty as Spider-Man, he jumps from a fucking tower block, rather than low-laying house, you know? Yeah. I think that visually is going to be interesting. There might even be fucking fights going on around his apartment at some point. Yeah. How cool would that be? Like, Dr. Octopus, like, tracks him down and then, like, they have, like, a face-off, like, on the side of the building.
I didn't even wonder what sort of villain they would go for Homecoming.
Yeah, well, he can do anything, because it's a reboot.
He was a great... The kid that's playing him, Tom Holland, is a great Spider-Man as well. And I'm glad that he's actually... He feels like an actual teenager rather than like an old man. Because, I mean, what was Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire? When
the Sam Raimi Spider-Man came out, I was roughly the age that he was in the film. And it never seemed strange to me. I never really picked up on the fact that, he looks like an adult. I just sort of bought it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
And the same with The Amazing Spider-Man. But now that we've got this really young actor playing this character, I'm not going to be able to watch those old ones the same. I'm going to think of it as a bit strange. Yeah. You know? Because you really feel that this is a kid. There's no two ways about it. He's
and his dialogue and everything, like the way he is a teenager, isn't he?
Typical teen, yeah. He's even got like acne and shit. Like I noticed, like don't know if that's makeup or what, but like they made him to be like a proper teen. Yeah. And even when he's in the costume, you can feel that he's not an adult. Like the way he jokes about, he makes mistakes, he gets chucked about quite a lot. Yeah. You know, yanked and here, there, and everywhere. And he's not Spider-Man yet, is he? He's not become the full shebang or whatever. Yeah, he's just playing around at the moment, I think.
And I mean, him and Downey Jr. as well have a great sort of
chemistry
on screen. Yeah,
I liked the way they sort of play off each other.
Yeah,
I liked the way Spider-Man's sort of like a fan of Captain America as well. Yeah, and they have that sort of like, where are you from? He's like Queens, and then Cap's like Brooklyn.
Star Wars sort of reference.
The Star Wars reference, obviously Disney owns Star Wars, so they can reference it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it wasn't just like a pop culture reference. Everyone was like, ha ha ha, he mentioned Star Wars. It was like, he mentioned Star Wars, and they used that knowledge from Star Wars to take down Giant Man, like Ant-Man, when he got all big.
I never knew Ant-Man could do that as well.
See, I don't think a lot of people did, because they never, like, obviously, they didn't touch on it in the Ant-Man film at all. But
he gets fucking massive.
Such a good surprise for this. It was sort of ruined for me because I saw a Lego set, and it come with a big Giant Man.
Oh, really?
Minifigure, yeah. And there's a pop vinyl figure as well, where it's like Giant Man. But I was like, haven't seen any footage of it yet, so I don't know what it looks like. So when it happened in the film, you was like, "Oh fucking hell!" Yeah. And then Paul Rudd, his reaction to it when he's like, "Oh shit, it worked." He's like, "It's so good." Like
Paul Rudd's
only in it for like, if you look at like face time, not like Ant-Man time, but like Paul Rudd's face, he's probably only in it for about 2 minutes, maybe. But every minute that he's in it, like he cracks a joke or whatever. One thing about this film, like, there's a lot of humour still. Yeah. Even though it's arguably the darkest Marvel film that they've done so far.
Well, so I thought, but...
Well, all right, yeah. Well,
in the end, I don't think it was as...
It was at least... thematically, it should have been the most dark. But even so, like, they still managed to fit in loads of humour and loads of jokes. And it wasn't like... I remember our Marvel conversation. It wasn't like hokey... Thor: The Dark World humour, where it's like the world's about to end, let's crack in 10 jokes while the universe is about to explode. None of it felt forced. It all felt like it was coming from the character rather than a mandated, we must have a joke at this point in the film, you know, all that sort of bullshit. It felt like, no, that is something that Ant-Man would say, that is something that Spider-Man would say. This is like the most Spider-Man that we've seen in a film. Like, he's sort of aced for character, if that makes sense. The things that he comes out with while he's fighting people, that is Spider-Man to me. Whereas, like, the others have sort of tried to do the jokey while he's fighting thing, but never really sort of nailed it. Whereas this one, obviously because Marvel's got it back now, I assume that's their doing, but it just sort of feels like, oh, now we're at the point where like I get the Spider-Man that I know from the comic books, you know? Everything else has been sort of like an adaptation or a sort of twisted version of it, but this is like, no, this is lifted straight from the fucking comic books. At least in my mind anyway, from my history of reading the character. Aunt May. Hey?
God damn.
Hey?
What's the actress's name?
Marissa Tomei.
Tomei.
What did that guy say when we left the cinema? When we all got up and there's like, oh yeah, the post-credit scene, by the way, like, is Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Aunt May chatting. And then after that finished, like some
wood
guys,
bang or something like that.
Yeah, something like smash that or some bullshit.
She's alright though.
But it makes sense. It makes sense to cast someone that age because they've got to be the same age as his parents would have been if they were still around. Surely, if it's a sibling, you know, not a sibling, it's by marriage, isn't it? Like, Uncle Ben is the blood relative. Aunt May is the
what? She was married to
She's married to Uncle Ben.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Uncle Ben is...
Because the way I'm imagining it in my film, I'm imagining Marissa Tomei is married to that old ass man that's plays fucking Uncle Ben in the original.
So if we do get a flashback of Uncle Ben's death
it'll be a
younger version, I assume, unless she is a gold digger. But anyway, so Uncle Ben is married. Uncle Ben is the brother of Peter Parker's dad. Yeah, basically. So that's the blood relation. Right. But it makes sense. You got this 15-year-old kid to have a younger mid-40s. You know, that just makes sense. And I don't know why. Obviously, I guess they wanted to be more like the comic books in the other films. Yeah. Sally Field was not as old as Rosemary Harris from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films.
Yeah, she was an old-ass lady, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen The Amazing Spider-Man yet.
They've gradually gotten younger. Yeah. And now it's at the point where I'm like, nah, this makes sense. Yeah. Like, this seems to fit quite well.
I think, well, you probably thought as well, but we both sort of thought that Spider-Man is in good hands now.
I hope so. I really hope.
Judging from what he has in this film, I think.
I don't want Sony to sort of. This is my big worry, that Sony has given not the rights, but let Marvel use the character. Going to put him in Civil War, which boosts the worth of their new version of Spider-Man. So when the Sony film comes along, everyone's on board from the beginning, even though it's a second reboot. But I don't want Sony to then turn around and go, oh, actually, you know, we're making this Venom spin-off. We're doing this. We're doing that. Actually, I think we'll take our Spider-Man character back now that you've made it, like, worth something. Yeah. I don't want them to shit the bed. And that's exactly the sort of thing I could see Sony doing. I used to be a real sort of, like, fan of the studio, if you can be the fan of a studio. But, like, Social Network, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, I used to love some of the stuff that was coming from that studio, and now it just seems like nothing but shit comes out of there. And that could be down to the management. It just seems like the sort of thing that they would do to sort of say, oh, you're happy with this version of Spider-Man? No, let's take it away from you, because just remember, we own it and you don't, you know? Yeah. And who are you to stop us? I don't know. But
I don't know. I think they want what's best for...
Well, I don't think they give a shit. I think they're just about the money at the end of the day.
Well, to a degree, then yeah, but
I don't think they care emotionally or creatively about what happens in these things. As long as Spider-Man is making more money than it did previously, I think that's all they care about.
I like to think they've had their chance. They know they've had their chance, and
maybe
then giving it to Marvel was like, okay, we've had it, we're done, we don't want to do it anymore. That's what I reckon.
But this, even though he's only in it for about 10, 15 minutes.
Well, that fight scene's quite a long one, isn't it?
It is, but like if you add up all the footage of him to get, it's probably about 10, 15 minutes. It's a good from just that amount of time. It's a good indication for what is to come. Yeah. Like if they're going to keep going along this road, brilliant, because this is going to be. This looks like it could be our best film version of Spider-Man, in the making right now. That 15 minutes is already better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'll say that now. Yeah. Yeah. Because it just feels more true to the character. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the suit. I like a lot of it, but I
like the eyes.
The eyes are great. I like the webbing. I like the colours. Like they've gone for bolder, brighter colours. Yeah. I like the physique. Like he looks like a more sort of lean Spider-Man. Yeah. Like more spindly, which is what I always imagine. When I think Spider-Man, I think of like Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, which is more sort of accentuated and more gangly, I guess, which makes sense. They're sort of going for that. and like the mouth moves when he talks. It's CG, but like it feels like the comic books come to life. I just don't like those black bands that he's got around his arms and legs.
So they're doing the same thing as Amazing Spider-Man, right? Where it's
sort of like tweaked.
Mechanical.
So that's sort of is what it is in the comic books. Like he makes the web shooters, and he makes the webbing. It's only the Sam Raimi films where it was like organic. But actually, personally, this might be sacrilegious to say. I actually liked the organic web shooters because it felt more like the bite really sort of did stuff to him. Yeah. If you know what I mean.
So how did the mechanical ones work? Because I don't...
Well, he puts the webbing in the web shooter, like the cartridges.
So he actually makes only his own cartridges?
He makes
that's what he throws at Tony Stark, doesn't he?
He makes the fluid. It's like just in a vial. And the web shooter sort of like...
So he jacks off into a little test tube and puts it in his arm.
You know, like silly string?
Yeah.
That's all like liquid in there, isn't it? Yeah. But then when you spray it, it comes out as a solid. Yeah. It's just like that, but like a stronger, stronger version, basically.
Sam Raimi's then.
You prefer that?
Yeah, because I've not seen Amazing Spider-Man, like I said, and I do want to get around to watching it.
What I would like, and I wrote this in a fan fiction script that I wrote many years ago.
Of course you did.
By the way, I'm writing a TV series for Spider-Man. But anyway, I've got the pilot. If anyone wants to pick
I think you told me about this before. I'm sure you.
My ideal version of Spider-Man would be like best of both worlds, right? So he doesn't have web cartridges. He has organic web shooters, but without the mechanism over his wrist, he can't aim it properly. It just sort of like oozes out like
cum.
It just sort of like dribbles out of his arm. Like there's no focus. It's just sort of like
cum.
I'm not. Look, how long did it take for us to get onto that topic?
Long.
Anyway, it is in the Sam Raimi version. That is like meant to be sort of what that's alluding to, because it's like a metaphor for puberty.
Yeah.
So I like that from that standpoint, especially given the age that he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that like he can produce the webbing, but then he makes the mechanism that aims it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like he attaches it to his wrist over the opening where the webbing comes out, and he uses the mechanism to aim it here, there, and everywhere, make it into a web, make it into a line, all the rest of it. And then you still have him being able to have the organic web shooters, but at the same time you have the plot point where like an enemy can destroy one of his web shooters and renders him sort of helpless.
Yeah.
You know, because you still need that for drama and all the rest of it. So that would be my ideal version, like somewhere in the middle, rather than just the pure like it's all mechanized. It's not coming from him at all. He's still intelligent because he invented the web shooter. But we haven't got the thing where he's like, I've run out of web cartridges or whatever. Or maybe he's like not able to produce a certain amount of webbing like in a short period of time or something like that.
This is the thing with this whole cartridge business then. Where does he keep the cartridges?
So he's got a belt now.
Has he? What, in Civil War?
Yeah. He's got them on his belt.
I didn't even notice that.
See, I look for these things like...
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there.
Right, okay.
I don't know if he'll streamline that, because with each Marvel film, they tend to tweak costumes.
Tweak the suit, yeah.
So by the time we get to his own film, which is like a year away? It's only a year away, Jesus.
Is it?
Yeah. July 2017 or something.
Nice.
So they should be filming that in the next few weeks, basically. They should be starting to roll cameras. I'm sure he'll have a different costume even then.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be getting closer and closer to your more traditional Spider-Man, what you know and love costume. You know?
So what was good with this one is Tony Stark wants to like
help him.
Yeah, he wants to bring him in.
Yeah.
And he helps him with the new suit, and I don't know, I like that. So I feel like now he's part of Avengers, then they've got room to change the suit. And
I heard an interview with Robert Downey Jr. the other day, and he said he likes to think that Tony Stark is responsible for all the costumes of all the Avengers. Like, it's all his design. You think like Falcon, like he's got like that heads-up display and his goggles, and who else have we got? I guess he's not nothing to do with Black Panther.
Or Ant-Man.
Well, no, because Ant-Man's got a different helmet in this one, so maybe... Oh, no, but he's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Okay, forget that.
And then because Downey Jr. at the end, he's like, who are you?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't even know he exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, for the most part, anyway, he's responsible for the costumes. Hey guys, I'm just taking a second out from the show to let you know how you can support the podcast and help it grow. You can follow us on Twitter at MRexPodcast, like our Facebook page, subscribe to us on YouTube, where we will post exclusive content as well as our regular episodes. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. You can get our merchandise from our Redbubble store. Just go to redbubble.com and search MRexPodcast. You could become a patron of the show and receive exclusive episodes via our Patreon campaign. To find all of the things that I've just mentioned, just search Moviesaurus Rex Podcast and look for the logo. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the show.
Anyway, should we back on the film?
Back on the film. Yeah, sorry. This became a Spider-Man podcast for a little bit there.
No, I think I said we talked about it wasn't dark enough. I think we were saying. And I feel like what I thought going into it...
There were some dark moments, but overall it was still quite light-hearted.
Like we were saying, nothing major happened to change the overall world.
Apart from the falling out.
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
I mean, I thought at the end, one of them was going to die, judging from the previous knowledge of the comic. I know that...
I thought Iron Man would die.
Yeah, when he gets a shield in the chest.
To make it different to the comic books.
Yeah. And before going in, or when you see it happen? Because he gets a shield in his chest, doesn't he? And it gets cut through the...
Oh, right, yeah. No, I don't know how, but I thought he was going to die.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, yeah.
So you went into it
if there was a moment, it would have been that.
But you went into it before thinking...
I went into it before thinking not everyone's going to walk away from this.
Yeah.
Because I thought Robert Downey Jr. is getting too expensive, practically. Maybe they just sort of said he's in Infinity War just to sort of make this a surprise.
Yeah.
But no, he is going to be in Infinity War, and
the thing is, do these films work without the whole team? If they did kill off someone,
but I think this is what they're building up to. This is why they're introducing so many new characters. Like we've got Wanda now, we've got Vision, we've got Black Panther, we've got Spider-Man. They've got Spider-Man. Like, do they need Iron Man now? Like, they've got War Machine still, or maybe fucking like we said in the previous episode, Ty Simpkins is going to come from Iron Man 3, you know, the little kid.
Oh, the kid, yeah.
Maybe he fucking becomes Iron Man. I don't know. They could do it. They could do anything.
Because was at the end of Winter Soldier, they kind of had the new team in their building.
That's Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Yeah. So I've only seen that one once. But yeah, that was kind of like these are the new Avengers.
Yeah, and that's probably what they'll. I imagine someone has to die in Infinity War.
They've got to do something because they can't keep paying Robert Downey Jr. $100 million.
Maybe fucking Iron Man gets killed at the end of part 1. Yeah. Captain America gets killed at the end of part 2, or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Hemsworth's Thor gets killed off as well.
I mean, do they kill? They can't kill characters off for the comics, can they? They do it, I suppose, and then start a new story, don't they?
Characters die and come back all the time in the comic books. They just find a comic book mumbo jumbo way of bringing them back. But
or start a new storyline.
Even though this isn't grounded, this is like more grounded than the comic books. So if someone died, like 9 times out of 10, they should really sort of stay dead. You know. So it's got to have some weight, which is why they haven't committed to killing anyone, because they know we can't just cop out and bring them back. Apart from Agent Coulson that time and Nick Fury.
They had the perfect reason to follow the comic in this time. Kill Captain, and then Bucky takes over as...
Yeah, or Falcon.
Maybe they still are going to do that, because Bucky's still kind of an enemy at the minute.
Yeah.
Although Captain's on his side, and I think Captain's team is on Bucky's side.
Yeah.
He's not. Tony hates him because...
Yeah.
He killed his dad and mum.
Maybe Sharon Carter, Agent 13, maybe she'll become...
Who's Sharon?
Captain America.
Oh, Peggy's daughter?
Niece.
Niece,
that's we find out in this film.
The one that was the agent that was spying on him.
Yes.
I was like, who is this bird and why do they already know each other? And I worked out that, she's the one in the... Yeah.
That's it. Just want to talk briefly about some of the action scenes.
We've
got a great opening in Lagos. With Crossbones.
Captain
Captain
didn't
America.
last long, did he?
He didn't last long.
I kind of...
What a way to go, though.
Yeah.
Very
from
cool
the end,
death.
from the end of Winter Soldier, though, and him being dragged out and he was all fucked up, wasn't he? I thought he was... I didn't know if he was a big character in the comics, but I felt like, he potentially is going to be quite a cool bad guy, because I'd seen what his helmet looks like and stuff like that, so I thought...
But he went into this knowing that he probably wouldn't walk away from it. He was like on a mission, like a death mission, wasn't he?
Yeah. What? So he just hated Cap?
He just wanted to kill... He wanted to take him with him when he blew himself up.
Yeah.
But I think possibly one of the darkest points of this film is when Scarlet Witch contains the blast and then throws him up in the air, but accidentally causes the explosion to destroy the building and kill people. That's the first time without really sort of thinking about it, that's the first time I can think off the top of my head that an Avenger has directly been responsible for the death of people.
And that it's been noted by
people have seen it happen. And it's on the news and all the rest of it. It's not like people getting buildings thrown on them and collateral damage and all that business. Like, she basically threw a bomb up there and killed people. Like, and that's the big...
And that's how the film sort of starts, isn't it?
That's the culmination of the... That's what kicks it all off. That's the inciting incident.
Yeah.
So we've got that great action scene. We've got lots of stuff here, there, and everywhere with Bucky, Cap, Black Panther. They sort of like...
I quite like that one, actually.
Times.
Eventually, they're on the car chase, aren't they? And
yeah.
On the Bucky's on the motorbike, isn't he? That's
very cool.
Yeah.
The bit where they're sort of like all running incredibly fast, like faster than the cars. Great stuff.
But no, the best one is obviously...
The airport scene is going to be what people remember this film for.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, because it was one of the best Marvel set pieces, if not the best.
Yeah.
It's already topped Avengers 1 for me, like in terms of action. Even though it's not like in a city and there's like massive destruction happening, it's only airplanes and stuff and trucks and things that get destroyed.
I think it's better, it's a bit more contained though, isn't it?
And you can see what's happening, you know? It's not just all in your face, it's like, this is more about the characters and like them using their abilities and like facing off against each other rather than taking out wave after wave of aliens and robots and all the rest of it.
It's good though that there's also characters during the fight, like I think isn't it Scarlett Johansson? Yeah. She kind of says to Hawkeye, "Oh, we still friends?" And
all that sort of...
They're still sort of all conflicted as to why they're fighting as well, which is quite cool. There's not like clear this side and that side against each other and they all hate each other.
Can we get onto the villain?
Yeah.
You happy to do that?
Go for it.
So, I'm not a big fan of IGN with their movie reviews anyway.
What are we talking about, IGN?
And one of their criticisms was Baron Zemo.
Right.
Zemo, the villain.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
He's the guy from Inglourious Basterds, isn't he?
And Rush. Daniel Bruhl?
That's it, yeah, Bruhl, yeah.
Playing a character called Zemo, who in the comic books is called Baron Zemo, and he's got like a pink, purple sort of get up on his head. They didn't go that route. He's just a guy.
Okay, I didn't know he was in the comic actually.
But one of their criticisms on IGN was that he's not a good villain. I don't understand that, because you obviously needed some other reason other than... You needed someone pulling the strings, like the person that deliberately put these people against each other.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have them fighting, and then they'll just be like, "Oh, what's the point?"
Yeah.
You know, you needed someone to like
orchestrate
the death of this person, to make that person resent that person, and this, that, and the other.
Because that's his plan, isn't it? That's what he wants to do.
And he has motivations. You see he clearly says why he was doing what he did. It's because the Avengers were responsible for the death of his entire family during Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
So again, if this film is about one thing, it's about the past sort of coming back to bite them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tony has that exchange with the woman in the corridor, and she's like, "You killed my son, you murdered him, you dropped a building on him," and all the rest of it. And then you've got Baron Zemo, or just Zemo, just Zemo. You've got Zemo saying, "Yeah, you killed my family as well," and that ain't on. Like that you've got to pay for that. And that's what this film is about. It's just about them realizing that even though they're saving people, they're putting people in harm as well.
Yeah.
Which is sort of amplified by when Vision says, like, since Iron Man became a thing, the number of superhumans has risen exponentially, as well as the number of world-threatening incidents thereafter. Their very existence invites conflict.
Competition,
Yeah, exactly. That's entirely what this film is about. And to have a villain that sort of personifies all of that is what you needed.
See, I didn't think there'd be this villain that...
Well, no, he's not in any of the marketing materials.
No, but because I always thought, all right, they're fighting for something, but I never thought there's this guy that's behind it all, making them fall out and trying to break them from the inside.
He could arguably one of their more rounded villains, because you know what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. He's not going to kill the Avengers himself. He's going to make them tear themselves apart. Yeah,
he's probably the most not relatable as a comic book film, but someone who actually has real motivation to just want to stop them.
You got the setup of all those other super soldiers, and he just fucking puts a bullet in all of their heads while they're asleep. He's like,
when there's really you go in thinking, oh god, he's going to wake them all up, and
but
they're all going to have a massive fight.
He's like, no, I don't need to do that, because I'm going to make you all hate each other, and you're going to do the job just as good.
Yeah.
I thought it was... I sort of saw it coming, but I did sort of like the scene where Iron Man's watching the video of his parents' death, and you just sort of realise he's thinking... One, he didn't realise that they died in such a brutal way, and two, he's working out. Does Cap know about this? Like, has he been holding his back from me this whole time? And then there's this great bit where he's like, did you know? And he's like, I didn't know it was him.
Yeah.
Like Bucky. And then Tony Stark's like, don't you bullshit me.
Yeah.
That's like the line. Don't you bullshit me. And then Steve's like, okay, I knew.
Yeah.
And then straight away, Iron Man's just like, you know? You sort of think the airport is the final fight, don't you? When you're watching it.
Yeah.
You're like, how can it...
You can't, like, have another fight scene on top of that,
Yeah.
it feels like, but...
You have the end fight in Siberia with Black Panther. Well, actually, he's not part of the fight, really,
No,
is
he doesn't.
Iron Man, Captain America, Bucky, the three-way fight.
Quite good
Great, because it's like, it's not just good in action terms, but like, there's an emotional thing going on there. Like, you know why, you see everyone's motivations, you can see why everyone's fighting, but they don't want to fight, and I don't know. I feel like it's a missed opportunity for someone to
die,
get seriously,
fucked up.
I mean, Bucky
maybe they're just scared to because they feel like they can't make that move yet.
That's my main criticism. Like, I love everything. I love everything about this film. The way it's shot, even the music ain't that bad. I quite liked the little motif.
Are they usually bad?
They're usually sort of like you throw away. Like, you don't really listen to it. But with this, there's definitely like a theme building throughout the film, and then during the airport fight, it sort of played out, and then during the fight between the three of them, it played out even more. Getting back to Spider-Man for just a second, I want him to have a theme tune like he did for the Sam Raimi films, like, you know, like Danny Elfman sort of. You don't know what I'm on about.
I don't remember the.
He does have he has a theme tune that like they use for all of the Spider-Man films.
Okay.
Whereas in Amazing Spider-Man, he has two different theme tunes because it's two different composers. It's like James Horner for the first one, and then Hans Zimmer for the second one. Completely different tunes. For this one, I want them to like be like, this is the Spider-Man theme tune, and when you hear this music, you know that it's fucking Spider-Man coming. You know, that sort of thing. Anyway, back to Civil War. The music was great. The way it was shot was great. The action's great. All the acting is fantastic. There's not a weak link in there, I don't think. Unless you can think of anything. It's not like Oscar-winning acting by anyone. But what I mean is, there's nothing weak. Like,
no,
not to me anyway. It's just that one thing. They had a great opportunity to really sort of shake it up, and they didn't because they're too scared.
I think
at the end of the day, which is a shame. Do you have anything else you want to talk about for Civil War?
No, I think that's it. I mean, all I know is I was going into it thinking Spider-Man's going to be good because everyone said
and he is.
I think now that Marvel's got him, I'm super happy for that.
If you're a true Spider-Man fan and you like read the comics and all the rest of it, and you understand the character, like, you will love this version.
Yeah. Even for casuals though, like just seeing the films, I think this is the best version. You
completely forget that it's a second reboot. You don't give a shit. By the time you're watching it, you're like, fuck, Spider-Man's up there with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he's fighting Ant-Man.
Cracking jokes.
And,
fighting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's right, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't really think I have much more to add. I guess we got to score this thing out of 10, haven't we? So
I'd give it an 8, I think.
On my first viewing, I come out like 10. It's 10. It was a 10.
Yeah.
But now we've talked about it, and I'm seeing the cracks. I have to give it... It's still a 9 for me. It would have been 10 if it wasn't for the fact that they didn't commit to like making this mean something, you know?
Yeah.
Having said that, it might change with the hindsight of seeing all the films that come after this. Maybe there are ripples throughout, but I'm worried that this is going to be like an Iron Man 3 situation where like major things you think are happening, like Iron Man blowing up all his suits and him getting his chest thing removed, but then at the end of the day, it doesn't really amount to anything.
Yeah.
You know? I'm worried that it will become that.
And they will be friends.
It'd just be like, oh, remember that time? Oh, forget about it. That sort of thing. No, I want to see there be like tension and
them fighting over custody for Thor.
Maybe like Thor and Hulk come back and they're like, what the fuck's happened? Why aren't you talking anymore?
Because I didn't really see a reason why they would leave them out before, like I heard about this film. But maybe that is a strategic reason for them to unite again with them two. I don't know.
Maybe we're not giving it enough credit, and maybe they have really planned. I assume they've planned like all these films already. Maybe when we get to Infinity War, they'll still be at odds with each other, and they still won't be 100% unified.
Yeah.
And then it will take something like Thanos, or even the death of a hero, for them all to sort of put everything aside and be like, look, forget the Sokovia Accords. It doesn't matter if we're registered or if we're not. At the end of the day, we've got to stop this threat. Otherwise, everything's fucked. You know, that'd be good. I want scenes where like there's debris coming down from buildings, and then like Spider-Man's like webbing up the rubble, like to stop it from hitting people and pulling people out of the way. And you know, like in this one, he was sort of like his job was just to like web people up. Yeah, something like that. Obviously, he can kick some ass at the same time, but you've got so many fucking possibilities now that you've got Marvel's biggest character. Yeah, and Black Panther. I don't think we've spoken enough about him. I didn't know anything about Black Panther before watching it, and now I'm like, oh,
he's getting his own film, is he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I think next year.
Is it?
Yeah, 2017. I think it's Spider-Man and then Black Panther. Guardians, Spider-Man, Black Panther. Right. I think we're getting 3 next year.
So this is the hard thing though. With you can't do an origin story now that.
No, we've had it. He basically said it in a sentence. He was like, this is passed down.
I suppose, yeah. So are we saying that his dad was...
Yeah, his dad was Black Panther. Yeah, before. But we never saw
he puts the ring on, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, so that...
We didn't see any of that beforehand. I like that they're not going to give everyone an origin story. Yeah. We're going to get certain characters, like obviously Doctor Strange is going to be an origin story film. Ant-Man was an origin, somewhat of an origin, although Ant-Man already existed technically. Yeah. But I like that they're sort of, after with sort of like a few films in, they're like, no, maybe we don't need every part 1 to be like the very first chapter. It's like these people have been doing stuff, you know, in
the world already. Yeah. And let's just ignore it or skip it.
It's interesting to think, obviously, the Asgard race was before anything, and then Captain America was a thing roughly around the same time that Ant-Man was a thing, but you only know this later on in the series. Yeah. And then he says Black Panther's been a thing passed down generation to generation, so he's been around for fucking ages, and there's all these stories that we could sort of, or history that we could sort of delve into if we was to go back, you know. Maybe they should do a film, I don't know, maybe they should do a film set in the past, old day Captain America, little crossover with Hank Pym as Ant-Man, get the old Wasp in there, something like that. I don't know.
I feel like if they were to do that, it would be more like a scene.
Yeah, in one of a flashback. That's all I want. I don't need a whole film. A flashback, something like that, to solidify the idea that like heroes haven't just started with Iron Man. Like they've been around for a very long time. It's very exciting.
I feel like Marvel, they've got free roam to do anything now, haven't they? Like,
yeah. And I like that they're not.
Their films are still going to sell.
Even though I'm pissed off that they didn't kill a main character, I'm glad that they didn't completely copy the comic books that they're adapting. Yeah. I mean, you can't completely adapt Civil War because there are characters that Marvel doesn't own in the films, like X-Men and stuff like that. But the fact that we don't know everything before we go see the film because we've heard from this comic book that this happens, that happens, that's nice, you know? Yeah. You're still going to get some surprises. So the post-credit scenes, the first one, it's Black Panther related.
Kind of signals. I suppose maybe the way the relationship's going to go into the next one.
Maybe the Black Panther film is people coming to take Bucky away, and Black Panther has to or at least maybe that's like the first set piece or something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he is part of it now. It's not going to be a standalone film where it's just Black Panther doing some Black Panther stuff.
Exactly.
He's part of it now, so yeah, could see that.
Yeah, because even the standalone films aren't always like completely self-contained. There's always like spillage into like other characters' films as well. And in the post-credit scene, we have Spider-Man or Peter Parker with a black eye, and he's talking about this fight he had with a guy called Steve. And you should have seen his friend; he was huge. Yeah, obviously Ant-Man. Just a bit more comedy, really. Yeah.
It's good to see more Spider-Man.
It didn't really set up anything other than you know that he's going to get his own film.
Yeah, because it said Spider-Man will return, didn't it?
Yeah. You see him discover the Spider-Man sort of signal thing from his wrist.
From the comic, you said, wasn't it?
From what I understand, like you don't see it so much now, but he had like a sort of torch thing on his belt, and he used to like shine it on the criminals when he was about to like bust their asses and stuff like that. Yeah. But he's got it on his wrist now. I don't know if they're gonna like adapt that so it can do other stuff, like signal to people when he needs help, or
because they kind of say that he's a bit of a Well, he was fixing up old computers.
He's a
and stuff,
techie.
isn't he?
Yeah. He obviously he made those web shooters, and he's like done lots of other stuff with
Which I don't recall
broken
they've
DVD
done that.
players and.
I don't recall them doing that in the other ones.
See, you haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man,
No.
have you? So he makes his web shooters in that,
Right,
but he
okay.
doesn't make the fluid. Like he just nicks that from Oscorp, basically,
Okay.
which is like a cop out, basically.
Yeah.
So he is sort of. They've sort of alluded in the previous
Right,
films,
okay.
but obviously they're not connected.
No.
But from Dot, you're like, oh no,
Yeah, because I mean, his first scene is just him
he
holding
says,
a
like, yeah.
DVD player, isn't it?
He says like before he got bitten, he wanted to play football, but like that wasn't what he did. He took stuff apart and built things and understood things, and that's what he's into.
Yeah.
Now that he could play football and be really good at it, he's like, I can't do it because that's not what I did before.
Yeah.
So like I shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I like this new version.
I do as well.
We keep coming back to Spider-Man, but I think that's just testament to like how fucking stand out that performance is and that version of the character.
Definitely.
So we've done our scores. We've talked about post-credits,
All
scenes, and all the rest of it. I don't think there's much more to say, really.
No.
I did love it. I'm not gonna, even though I've sort of said my down points on it, I do love this film.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it again.
As far as hero versus hero films go, this beats the shit out of Batman v Superman.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. In quality, in coherence, in fun, in action, in all the areas that need to be. Yeah.
Ticks the list. Ticks the list? That's not a fucking phrase, is it?
No, it's not.
Ticks the box.
Ticks the box.
Still doesn't sound right in my head.
Nothing sounds right coming out of your mouth, though, to be honest. Thank you for listening. We'd like to hear what you think about Captain America Civil War. Just send us a tweet at MRexPodcast. And thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Until next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.